26-year-old child care provider Laura Burton is suing her ex-husband, 29-year-old machinist Donald Allen, for the return of her son's belongings. Donald is countersuing for car payments and insurance costs.
It's case number 48 on the calendar in the matter of Burton versus Allen. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Miss Burton, when were you and Mr. Allen married?
We got married in April of 2001.
And at the time you were married, you had a child, a boy. Is that right?
I already had him, yes.
From a previous marriage or relationship?
Relationship, yes, ma'am.
And how old was that child when you married Mr. Allen?
9 months.
And where is the father of that child?
He lives in the state of California. At the time, he lived in the state of Utah with me.
Does he support the child? Does he support the child?
Right now, no.
Last year, did he support the child?
Yes.
The year before?
Yes.
And the year before?
Yes.
And how much support was he sending for the child?
He paid $167 a month.
So not much.
Not much.
Not enough to support the child.
No, ma'am.
When you married Mr. Allen, were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
Continually employed?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was watching the baby?
The biological father was watching him.
And that remained throughout your marriage to Mr. Allen, that the biological father was watching the baby while you were working?
At the point when me and Mr. Allen got married, I had put him in daycare.
And you continued to be employed?
There were points that I did become unemployed.
Large stretches of time?
No, maybe the longest stretch were 6 months.
And during that 6-month period, Mr. Allen supported the household?
Yes.
Supported you and your son?
Yes.
Okay. When were you married, Mr. Allen?
April 25th, 1998.
To her?
Yeah.
Why did she say April 2001?
I don't know. My son was born in 97, so.
You mean the baby?
Yeah, the baby.
Is that right?
Yes.
So that you made a mistake. You were
Yes,
married
ma'am.
in 1998.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you separate?
It was the end of August, September of 2002.
And when were you divorced?
October 4th, 2002.
Do you have any children together?
No.
So this is what this case is about. Miss Burton is suing you for the return and or value of property, the child's property, child's clothes, games, sporting equipment, etc., etc. That was at your house. Because even after the divorce, you were exercising visitation with him. You coached his ball league.
Up until problems happened. So.
Whatever it was. But you were involved with him, so you kept some things at your house. Did he sleep at your house occasionally during visitation?
He actually lived with us from March until July.
March of what year?
2003.
Why was that?
His mother was unable to find a place to live.
For that 4 months he lived with Mr.
That is
Allen?
incorrect, Your Honor.
How long did he live with Mr. Allen?
Until May.
So he lived with Mr. Allen for 2 months?
Yes, ma'am.
According to you. But since the separation, since you were living together, Mr. Allen has had regular contact with the boy. What's his name?
His name is Tyler.
And I would assume that Tyler is attached to Mr. Allen.
In a way.
Okay. And your lawsuit wants Mr. Allen to return all of these things. Mr. Allen says, I bought them, and they're staying in my house. I also gather from reading your complaint and his answer that you have decided it's no longer appropriate for Tyler to spend time with Mr. Allen.
It's become unhealthy.
It's become unhealthy because why?
The constant bickering between Mr. Allen and I had told him that it needed to stop. It was becoming unhealthy for everyone in the situation. I gave him a year that I continuously said, we cannot be bickering. We need to stop. Something needs to change.
Bickering about what?
Just little things, mainly my son. He was trying to run my household for me. And
who was this person?
This is my current husband, Brian.
When were you married?
We got married in November of 2003.
Tyler is 7 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
And what you're telling me, Miss Burton, is that you have decided to cut off the only constant male relationship in your son's life because you couldn't get along with Mr. Allen.
Not only that I couldn't get along with Mr. Allen, but my son is fearful of this man.
I'm not interested in whether you say your son is fearful. I don't believe it. I don't believe if your son is fearful of him, you let him stay there for 2 months while you were trying to find a new place to live. That's baloney. Don't believe it. Not for a second. Anyway, she stopped all contact. Is that right?
Yes, she did.
And you have this property that you purchased.
Yes. Can I explain something real quick?
Go ahead.
When we were divorced, we agreed to split his stuff for her home and our home. Everything she bought stayed at her house. Everything we bought stayed at our house. And after she got pregnant the first time, she claims that I was going to let her have the baby clothes or use the baby clothes that I got in the divorce that she said I could have.
What do you mean after she became pregnant the first time? What does that
Well,
mean?
the first time, because she had a miscarriage about a year ago.
That's with her present husband?
No.
With you?
No.
With who?
Boyfriend at the time, or...
Okay, go ahead.
And then she asked for the clothes when she became pregnant now. And I told her no. And I came to the point where I've done so much.
Mr. Allen, you don't have to explain it to me any further. Mrs. Burton, I don't know how to put this to you. You have one child, you're expecting another. You've got a new husband. Before this new husband, you had a boyfriend with whom you were intimate and got pregnant. I mean, so your life has been up and down, and before that, you had the father of your 7-year-old who you weren't married to. So the only constant that your son has known in 7 years has been this man. When you are a parent, you are not supposed to be a selfish baby.
Ma'am,
I'm speaking. Now, unfortunately, the law does not permit Mr. Allen, who is not related to this child by blood, to seek visitation with him in most jurisdictions. It doesn't mean that he can't sue for custody of this child, because anybody can sue for custody of a child if they believe that the biological parent has so abused or neglected that child as to make it dangerous, emotionally and or physically, for the child to live with that parent. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Which means in most jurisdictions he cannot file for visitation, but if you become a worse mother than I believe that you are, he can file for custody. It is the wrong thing to do to cut off for your son a relationship with this man, which is the only constant he has known for 7 years because of your moving around.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, as ex-husband Donald Allen owes for the return of her son's belongings. Donald claims Laura owes for car payments.
Now, not only aren't you getting the stuff back, but I'm telling you that you better watch your back, because should you do anything that places this child in either physical or emotional damage, he's going to be there.
Ma'am.
And while you may not consent to visitation because you got your nose out of whack, because I believe what he says when he says, she said to me, I'm going to lay down the rules. If you want to see him, I'm going to tell you what the rules are. That sounds like something you would say. And what you're doing is not considering the best interests of your child. And when you don't do that, you're not being a good parent. You're not getting the property back. He bought it for his stepson to stay at his house. Unfortunately, when the marriage was terminated, so was the relationship, the legal relationship of stepchild, step-parent. That you know.
I know.
That you know. And there were other things, Mr. Allen, that you could have done.
I know.
During the marriage, you could have discussed adopting him. That was a possibility. I don't know whether his biological father would have consented to that or not. The law doesn't keep up with the dynamics of our new world. And our new world is that sometimes children become very attached to their step-parents, and it's very unfair for the biological parent to use that as a sword. It's clear to me that there was a time when Mrs. Burton was very, very happy to have you fill in for her son to live with you for either 2 months or 4 months while you were in between residences. That was convenient. It no longer is convenient. I'm sorry. You don't get anything back. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's kind of upsetting. All my son wanted was his personal belongings that are there now.
So many things are put into this little boy's head, like his daddy's abandoned him.
He's the victim. I mean, I have to go home and disappoint him again.
We were best friends. There was no other way around it. Best friends with each other. We did everything together.
I'm thinking of the best interest of my child.
I love you no matter what loves you.
And now the next case. 24-year-old copyright analyst Lydia Velasquez is suing her former friend, 22-year-old car salesman Shannon Sieber, for his share of a trip to Spain. Shannon claims Lydia offered to pay.
This is case number 101 on the calendar in the matter of Velasquez versus Sieber. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Ms. Velasquez, Mr. Sieber was a friend of yours, and you claim that he owes you for some expenses from a trip to Spain that you took with him.
That's correct.
Or that he took with you. Mr. Sieber says there was never any agreement to pay you back any of the money you expended on his behalf. while acknowledging that you did spend money on him for plane tickets and some hotel expenses. Is that right, Mr. Sieber?
That's correct.
Okay. So let me turn to you first. I'd like you to tell me something about yourself.
Okay. I'm from Manassas, Virginia. I met Lydia in New York.
I didn't ask you where you met her. I asked you something about yourself.
Something about myself.
Yeah. First, why don't you tell me how old you are?
I'm 22 years old.
And what do you do for a living?
I sell cars.
And how long have you been selling cars?
For about 8 months now.
Is that what you want to be, a car salesman when you grow up?
No, but it pays well.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Own my own business.
What kind of business?
Maybe a daycare.
A daycare?
Yeah.
You like children?
Love children.
Why do you think that you have what it takes to guide young children into maturity? Stand up straight. First, the first thing you have to know is that you don't have to lean on anything.
Yes.
A table, a woman, anything. So what I want you to tell me, Mr. Sieber, is since your life's ambition is to own a daycare.
Yeah.
Yes, try yes.
Yes.
That's the first thing you have to do with children, teach them how to speak. And since that is probably one of the most laudable professions to guide children, I want you to explain to me what personality traits you believe you have that would qualify you to guide the future of America. Now, I want you to think about that, Mr. Fastmouth, before you answer my question. Because I want you to think of what it is. Because as you see from this little repartee that we're having between us, I can swallow you up alive. We understand each other?
Oh, we understand each other.
Very good. So I want you to think very carefully, Smarty Mouth, why you believe that you can, with your talents and what those talents and moral qualities that you have are, to guide the children who are the future of America.
Because I'm consistent and committed.
Committed to what?
Committed to be able to learn whatever I have to learn to be able to teach children.
Okay. Now let's talk about your moral qualifications. You sell cars?
Yes.
Did you ever exaggerate to somebody when you sold them a car?
No.
Never.
No.
So when you're negotiating with somebody, you're always right up front. When you say, listen, my manager won't let me take a penny less than for this car, and I'm going to give up most of my commissions so that you can have this car, because I want you to have this car.
Of course.
That's totally honest.
Oh, yeah.
Never said anything that wasn't true.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I want you to do this for me, Mr. Sieber. When you open up your daycare center,
Yes, ma'am.
let me know where it is.
Okay.
When did you take this trip with Miss Velasquez?
We took it March 31st.
And how long did you go for?
6 days.
Who went, Mr. Sieber?
Myself and Lydia.
Just the two of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume, Miss Velasquez, from reading your papers, that you had a little bit of a crush on him.
I did.
Now, what makes you think, Mr. Sieber, that even though Miss Velasquez had a crush on you, she was going to pay for your tickets?
Well, when I got the call early in February, and she asked me to take the trip with her, I told her that I would take the trip. And she said that she would cover the flight expense if I would go with her. When we got over there, the first night that we were there, advances were made, and I told her I wasn't looking for anything further. And after that happened, we got back to Northern Virginia. I started getting calls. She wanted money. So, because the advances were denied, she decided she wanted payment.
Why did you go with her, Mr. Sieber?
Because I liked her as a friend.
Did you tell her that?
Yes.
Well, tell me what you said to her.
Exactly that.
Let me hear.
I like you as a friend.
When did you tell her that?
Many times. In New York, when I was with her, over the phone.
When she called and asked you to go to Europe with her, did she say why she wanted you to go to Europe with her?
No.
All right, now I'll hear you, Miss Velasquez.
Thank you.
When did you call him?
I didn't call him, actually. He had called me. We initially met, and we went on a really nice romantic first date. We kept in touch. My sister got sick. He was calling to ask me about her. And through the course of the conversation, towards the end of the conversation, I had told him about a trip that I was planning for myself. I thought planning a trip for myself and going to Spain was really what I wanted to do. Then Shannon had called me. He's very charming on the phone, and he expressed his interest in coming with me.
No, just not expressing it. What did he say, if you remember?
He said, would you mind if I came with you? And I said, yeah, no, that's great. I was excited about the fact that he wanted to go with me on a trip.
Now let's get to the tickets.
Sure. He had said if he can find a ticket for around $400, that he'd go ahead and, pay me for that. So the next day, I did a vigorous search. I'm pretty good at the internet, and I found tickets. I had called him up, and I told him how much the ticket was going to be. It was around $444. And he had said, you know, that's fine. And I said, well, I already put the hotels, so you can just pay me half for the hotels. We can split that, and then just pay me back for the flight. And he said that he would pay me back the full amount. When we got to Spain, he paid me $300 in cash. And he...
Oh, Mr. Sieber, how come you gave her $300 in cash, sir?
Oh, that was for the hotel.
You gave her $300 and said...
And he said, on April 18th, I will send you the remaining balance. So I had thought that he was going to pay me once he got back home. We had a good time. I realized, though, when we got there, his attitude towards me changed. Before that, the phone conversations were great. He was saying, you know, oh, you're so cute, and I'm listening to your CD right now because I sing or whatnot, and you're making me smile and all this charming baloney. And I fell for it. I fell for it like I would. But when we got there, though, his attitude changed towards me. He all of a sudden was cold, distant, and it seemed like I was irritating to him.
The bloom was off the rose.
It was.
Okay, fine.
It fell down and someone squished it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Lydia Velasquez says former friend Shannon Sieber owes for a trip to Spain. Shannon claims Lydia is upset that he only wants to be friends.
All right. $444 was the plane ticket, is that right?
Correct.
And then there was some expenses for the hotel.
Correct, because we were there for 5 days and 4 nights.
And you are asking for $350, which is less than the cost of the ticket, so your $300, sir, paid portion of the plane ticket. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Look at that. You paid part of the plane ticket and you didn't even know it. Mr. Sieber, you look like a sweet young man. You're 22 years old, so I will attribute some of what you say to me today as being words from somebody who is not yet fully cooked. Just starting to shave and just starting to feel yourself. So I want you to understand something. You're supposed to have a reasonable moral compass. You're not supposed to toy with somebody else's affections. And I think that you're a smart aleck enough to know that by going to Spain with her, you were toying with her affections. You're not supposed to do that. It's unkind. And should you find yourself at the other end of this affection stick at some point in your life, I guarantee you won't like it. But I've been around long enough, Mr. Sieber, to know that what goes around comes around. And it may not come around today, it may not come around tomorrow. But if you're not nice to people, eventually it's going to come back and bite you in the behind. We understand each other?
Clearly.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $350. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's just sad when friends have to start suing each other.
I'm just happy that I'm going to actually get my money back.
There was never a relationship to begin with. It was all made up in our mind.
I might have been misled by him.
It was made very clear before we left. It was what it was. There was going to be nothing more.
Not the person that I thought he was.
She's a nice lady.
He's just being rude.
We were only friends, and that's all it would ever be.
We're not friends anymore.
And now the next case. Suing his ex-fiancée, daycare owner Karen Watkins, for the return of bedroom furniture, a refrigerator, and the engagement ring. Karen says Jean's lawsuit is ridiculous.
Yes, this is case number 208 on the calendar in the matter of Lorsch versus Watkins. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Lorsch, you and the defendant were together for about 7 years, according to what I read in your complaint, and engaged for 3 or 4 of those years. You broke up, and you want returned to you some furniture, and you also want the engagement ring back. Ms. Watkins says the furniture's been in her house for years, never asked for it back. As a matter of fact, you don't even want the furniture back. You want the value of the furniture because you've already replaced it. And as far as the engagement ring is concerned, she said she hasn't seen it for years. So either you took it back or it was lost. And you lived together for 2 years after it was lost. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. When did the two of you live together? During which period of time?
Well, I'd say from 99 to 2003.
And when you left, did you take anything with you?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Your Honor, that's not true.
What did he take with him?
He took his couch. He took the bedroom set that was
Just
in my
a second.
bedroom.
Did you take the couch? When you moved out, sir, did you take the sofa?
Your Honor, yes, I did.
I mean, I do speak the language, and I assume you do too, so I don't know why you're confused. Did you take a bed?
Just a bed and headboard itself, yes.
Okay. What else did he take, Miss Watkins?
Well, those are the main furniture things that we have
Okay,
there.
those are the furniture things. Now we're a year later, more than a year later, and you want a refrigerator, not the refrigerator, the cost of the refrigerator. And you want some bedroom furniture that you purchased because each of you had a daughter.
Correct.
And you bought some bedroom furniture so that the two girls could be in the same bedroom.
That's right, Your Honor. It made it more
Okay.
comfortable for my daughter to be in her place. Like I said, she provided daycare for me for the whole time that we were together, and I was paying her daycare fees.
So
We're
Your Honor,
getting,
that's
we're
not
getting,
true
Mr. Lorsch, listen to me. We're getting beyond ourselves, sir. I like to keep things very simple. When you moved out in June of 2003, did you ask her for the refrigerator?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
That's not true.
Shh, just a second. Don't say anything that's not true because I will make you look very foolish.
This was something.
Just a second. Don't say anything that's not true or I will make you look very foolish. And you don't want that. So, I'm going to start all over again. Did you ask her for the refrigerator in June of 2003?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay. And did you ask her for the children's furniture in June of 2003?
At that point in time, no, Your Honor, I did not.
But you did ask her for the refrigerator.
Yes, I did.
And what did she say?
She thought that I owed it to her.
And what did you say?
I said, I think, your new boyfriend can get you a new refrigerator.
Okay. And what did she say?
She said, I think that rightfully belongs to me now.
Okay. And that's the way it was left.
Yes.
You did not sue her for that, right?
At that point in time, no, I did not.
Over a year ago. Nor did you sue her for the children's furniture, correct?
I did ask her for the stuff on occasion.
Listen to my words very carefully. You did not sue her for those items in June of 2003.
It was a continuing discussion over the year.
When was it a continuing discussion, Mr. Lorsch? Was it a continuing discussion each time you would take your daughter there for her to provide daycare?
More like on a monthly basis.
And you had this conversation with her on a monthly basis while she was taking care of your child. Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, when your daughter was not with Miss Watkins, was she back in your home with you or your former wife?
My former wife, yes.
Did she ever come to stay in your home
Yes.
for a day or 2 days or 3 days?
3 or 4 days usually.
Yeah.
Oh, shh. And when she came to your home, did you feed her?
In the evenings, yes.
And when you fed her, did you use a refrigerator?
Yes, I did.
Where'd you get it from?
I had to purchase a new one to replace the old.
When did you purchase the new one?
I have that in here.
Well, why don't you tell me about it?
May 7th of this year.
So is what you're telling me, Mr. Lorsch, between June of 2003 and May of 2004, you lived without a refrigerator?
No, I had a portable unit.
So you had a refrigerator.
A small one, yes.
Good for you. Now, when did you purchase new bedroom furniture for your daughter to sleep in?
Actually, I do not have it yet.
You don't. So where was your daughter sleeping? She wasn't sleeping with you.
She is either sleeping on the couch or she'll sleep in a sleeping bag in her room.
In a sleeping bag in her room.
This is on call. They're
Just a
supposed to
sec,
call me
Mr.
when
Lorsch.
it's delivered.
Is what you're telling me the way that you provided for your daughter when she was with you is to have her sleep on the floor? Is that what you're telling me?
No, Your Honor. At the time, I had a day bed.
There we go. That's better. In what year did you purchase the bedroom furniture that was in Miss Watkins' home?
That was November 30th of 2002, like 6 months before she decided she didn't want to be with me anymore. It's awfully convenient.
No, there were a lot of nights, sir, between November of 2002 and June of 2003.
Yeah.
It's only 6 months, Your Honor.
That's a lot of nights. Now, where's the engagement ring?
It's gone. I took it off because I wasn't ready to be married. I took it off. The next day where I put it, I went to get it. It was gone.
When was this?
I think he took it.
When?
Oh, gosh. Approximately two years ago, maybe possibly 3.
Did you discuss the fact with Mr. Lorsch that you didn't have the ring?
Yeah, I went to get it, and I said, I took the ring off, and it was gone. I still think he took it because he's so controlling it. He probably took it until the time that he until, because we were still dating, and so he probably...
Listen, when you live together and you share a room and you share a life and you have children over, that's not dating. Dating is what you do when somebody comes to your house, picks you up on a Friday night, takes you to dinner and to a movie, and then brings you home. That's dating.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Lorsch says ex-fiancée Karen Watkins owes for the return of a bedroom set, a refrigerator, and an engagement ring.
And Mr. Lorsch, while you were living together, do you recall a time that she no longer had the engagement ring?
When she said that she, didn't want to date
No, look
anymore.
at me, look at me. Don't look down at your papers. My question to you is...
I asked her at that time.
Just a second. Mr. Lorsch, do you see how foolish I made you look 5 minutes ago? If you don't see it, everybody else has seen it. Now, I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to give you another chance, sir. Did there come a time while you were living together with Miss Watkins that she was no longer wearing the engagement ring?
At the point she called it off, yes.
Good.
I asked her about it then, and she said she stopped wearing it 2 months prior, which was just last year.
So there was a time, listen to me. So there was a time while you were living together that she was not wearing the engagement ring. Is that right?
According to her, yes.
No, according to you. I said there was a time while you were living together that she was not wearing the engagement ring.
That seems apparent, yes.
It was apparent. Now, when you saw that she was not wearing the engagement ring, did you continue to share a room with her?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, I want to listen. You're trying to think of how to answer these questions so that this decision will go in your favor. And I'm telling you only one thing, sir. I am a master at ferreting out the truth. So as smart as you think you are, you're not smarter than I am. We understand each other, Mr. Lorsch?
Yes, Your
My
Honor.
question to you is a simple one, sir. Now that you have acknowledged that while you were living together, she stopped wearing the ring for whatever reason, what kind of discussion did you have with her about the ring?
If she was calling the engagement, I asked her if I could have it back. She says, I have misplaced it, and when I find it, I will return it to you.
After she said she misplaced it, did you ever see it again?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Now, after you broke up in June of 2003, it had been, let us say, months that she hadn't worn the ring. Did you say to her, did you find the ring?
Yes.
And what did she say to you?
Haven't had a chance to look for it yet.
That's not entirely true. He never asked for the ring. Is what he would do is threaten me and point at me and say, if you don't find the ring, I'm going to take you to court and I'm going to ruin you in court. And that's what he used to always do to me, is point at me and corner me and threaten me,
So he asked you for the ring. He demanded the ring back. Now, we're not talking about the Hope Diamond here. We're talking about a ring that, according to you, Mr. Lorsch, you spent $700 on. Is that right?
That's correct.
Get over it. Mr. Lorsch, if you lie about one thing, I doubt the veracity of everything that you say. Do we understand each other? Do we understand each other? It's not her burden, sir. It's your burden. So when you come to court, it's your burden of proof to go forward and convince me that you have just cause. And what you've said in your complaint is, I don't want the refrigerator back, and I don't want the bedroom furniture back. I wanted to pay me the replacement value of it, because I went out and I bought a new refrigerator a year later, and I went out and bought new furniture that I haven't gotten yet. Get a
Your Honor.
Mr. Lorsch, you're out of here. Goodbye. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He'd come by the daycare and tell me he wanted, and he'd corner me. He held me captive in his house.
We'd been friends ever since we broke up.
As long as I'm around, he'll always be last place.
I believe that finally I can get him out of my life, and he can move on. I can move on, and it'll be good.
I have a feeling it'll still continue.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Perry versus Bartle, step forward.
Homemaker Lynn Perry is suing Travis and Michelle Bartle for the cost of vet bills. Lynn says Michelle's 12-year-old son, Matthew Fry, beat on her cat with a stick.
Miss Perry, Mr. and Mrs. Bartle's son injured your cat with a stick, and you want them to pay the vet bills. And Mr. and Mrs. Bartle seem to say it was the cat's fault because the cat was out running loose, and the cat should not have been running loose. That's your defense, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You, over here.
Seat up here, okay?
So, you watch me. Don't take your eyes off me for a second. Your son told you the following story, which I gather from your answer, that he was riding down the street at his grandmother's house, and a dog was chasing him in the middle of the street.
Yes, ma'am.
And he had a stick, and he accidentally hit the cat.
That's what he told me.
And that's what you believe.
He told me that the bike hit the cat, and then the stick hit the cat too, yeah.
Oh. Now, your cat was seriously injured.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of a cat is it?
She's actually a mutt. She's pure white, one blue eye, one gray eye, 16 years old.
Managed to get through 16 years before she met this young man.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of injuries did she have?
She's lost some sight in her left eye, and she was bleeding from her nose and her mouth when the incident happened.
You're 12 years old?
Yes.
You do okay in school?
Yeah.
When did you go to your grandmother's house that day, Matthew?
We went over there that morning.
Who went over there?
Me and my two sisters.
Now, there came a point at some time that you were outside on your bike.
Yeah.
Who were you riding with, yourself or with your sisters?
I was by myself. It was after I took my sisters to their friends.
And about how far was that? A block, 2 blocks?
About a block.
Did you have any trouble taking your sisters over to their friend's house?
No.
Did you have any trouble coming back? Look at me.
The dog.
Look at me.
I was getting chased by the dog.
Oh,
on
that's
the
what
way
you
to my
just
friends.
don't. Was it a big dog?
It was a bulldog. It was about up to my knees.
And where did that big bulldog start to chase you, Matthew?
Right as a stop sign after I was coming down the hill, I was going to turn down and go down the hill, and it started chasing me.
And you didn't get off your bike from the time the bulldog started to chase you until the time you hit the cat. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you tell me when you got this stick. Is not an answer. Look right here.
I left with the stick from my grandma's.
You did?
Yes.
Why would you leave carrying a stick?
The dog was chasing me.
No. The dog didn't start chasing you until you got to a stop sign, Matthew.
Yeah, from my sister's friend's house.
That's not what you told me. You told me that the dog started to chase you when you were making a turn at a stop sign.
Yes, ma'am. Or right as I take the right turn, he started chasing me.
Right, and you didn't get off the bike. So if the dog was chasing you, and I asked you, when did you get this big stick?
Before I left the house.
Why would you start carrying a stick on your bicycle?
Because he's bit me before, and I didn't want to get bit again. And
Matthew, I don't believe you.
My mom was...
Matthew, I don't believe you. You may have told that story to your mother and father about the big dog chasing you and the stick, but I don't believe it. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you want to tell me how you hit this cat with the stick?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to hear the truth from you.
Yes, ma'am.
You say yes, ma'am. You make sure you believe yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I was riding down the hill with the stick in my hand because that's when the dog was chasing me.
Yeah, how big a stick was it?
It was a broomstick.
A broomstick?
Broke in half.
Go ahead.
I was riding down through there, and I was looking back. That's the time that the dog was chasing me. And I kept on looking back, and he wasn't there. And I turned around. I didn't know what it was until I hit it, and I saw that it was a cat. I really didn't mean to, but... So,
I still don't know how it got hit in the face with the stick.
I was riding down through there, and it was in the middle of the road, and I looked back, and I looked forward, and I hit it.
With a stick?
Yes, ma'am.
Baloney. Go sit down. It's not true. It's not the way it happened.
Well, he told me that he hit the cat with the bike and then the stick, and the bike has freestyle pegs on the front.
He
and
was lying to you. I raised 5 children. None of them ride their bicycle that they're supposed to hold on to with 2 hands, carrying a broomstick in one hand unless they're looking for trouble. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand? Yes, ma'am. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
They may have believed you momentarily. Maybe they still do. I don't believe you, Matthew. You're not supposed to hurt a living thing. Ever. And if a dog was chasing you, you don't take your bike out. You stay at your grandmother's house. And if it was chasing you when you took your sister to their friend's house, stay at the friend's house and call your grandmother. And call your mother and say, I'm afraid to go home because this big bulldog is chasing me. You understand?
Yes,
That's why I don't believe you. All they're asking for is their vet bills. You're lucky. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $605.01. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Mario McCullough is suing his mother, homemaker Belinda McCullough, for attorney fees, the value of his belongings, and mental distress. Mario says when his father died, his mother pillaged the estate.
Yes, case number 253 on the calendar in the matter of McCullough versus McCullough. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. McCullough, you are one of 6 children, is that right?
That's correct.
And this is your mother?
Yes,
According to what I read in your complaint, your parents were divorced.
that's correct.
And subsequent to the divorce, your father passed away.
Yes,
At the time that your father passed away, he was residing in what had been the marital home.
yes,
As soon as he passed away, your mother moved back into the marital home. Half of the marital home belongs to your mother. Half of the marital home, according to her, belongs to the 6 children.
yes,
It is your claim that your mother has some property that belongs to you, has some property that belongs to you and your siblings that was property of your father's that she either kept or disposed of, so you're suing for that. And also for the cost of legal fees, because you say that she filed a restraining order against you, things got so heated, and you want those legal fees paid.
that's
right?
correct.
No. When were your parents divorced?
Several years prior to...
Let's not go there. If you don't know the answer, say, I don't know when they were divorced. When were you divorced?
2001,
How many years had you been married?
27.
And you had 6 children.
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the judgment of divorce?
Well, I have a deed that says if that will help, a deed that says that I'm owner of half the house.
Let me see the deed. Was that pursuant to the divorce judgment?
Yeah, that half the house, half the property was his and half of it was mine.
Why did your husband remain in the marital home?
Because he was sick and I told him he could stay there.
Was there a will?
No.
Did you speak to an attorney after your father died?
I contacted an attorney who suggested that the house be put in probate. So the house was put in probate. My mother disagreed to the probate from day one.
Why would you want to put the house in probate, to have it sold?
Because we didn't know what was happening with his belongings.
What belongings, sir?
All of his belongings.
Like what?
Pictures on the walls, couches, entertainment centers, computers.
You mean furniture?
Furniture, not only furniture, but I was concerned about my belongings also.
Let's not talk about your belongings yet. Let's talk about the furniture in the house.
Okay.
Had your father refurnished when your parents separated?
Yes, he did.
Is that right?
He bought a couch, 2 couches for $35 both at a thrift store that he furnished. And then that's the only thing he put in the house. And then the entertainment center, which was a gift from his niece.
So we're not talking about $100,000 worth of furniture.
No, ma'am.
What personal belongings of yours did you think were in the house?
A weight set, a mountain bike, boxing trophies. We had lockers in the house, Your Honor. My dad had lockers built for each individual kid. And that's where we kept a lot of our personal stuff.
Did you ask your mother for your things?
Yes, I did ask my mother for my things.
And what did she tell you?
I couldn't get none of my stuff.
What? Let me hear.
That's not true. I have some letters here from the probate lawyer asking him and asking all of them to remove their stuff.
Can I see it, please?
And there's 5 letters here.
You received a letter that was dated April 8th, 2004, correct?
Yes.
And the letter is from an attorney that says, please come and get your stuff. And if you don't come and get your stuff, they're going to dump your stuff. And since you and your other brother are prohibited from going to her house because there was a restraining order against you, you were supposed to make arrangements through Mark. Who's Mark?
Another brother of mine.
Or someone else to have their belongings identified and removed. Did you do that?
I tried to contact him to find out a day and time to do that. He said he'd call me back. The guy never called me back.
Why didn't you have the attorney that you spoke to, Mr. McCullough, contact the probate attorney for your father's estate and say, listen, my client has been trying to get his stuff. He can't make an arrangement. Or is there another agenda here that I am not figuring out? And I somehow believe that there's something cooking here other than your baseball jacket and a couple of trophies that are in a locker. You want to tell me what it is?
What it is, Your Honor, is I thought that I would be able to get my stuff.
I'm not talking about your stuff. I'm saying this has to do with something other than your stuff that was in a locker, a baseball jacket and a couple of trophies. It had to do with something more than that, probably something that had to do with money, because you wanted your mother to sell the house, right?
No, I didn't want my mother to
Well,
sell
then
the
why go to probate if you didn't want your mother to sell the house?
What it had to do with was not only my stuff, but my father's stuff had gotten removed from the house. The day she moved in, she brought her stuff in. There wasn't room for both of their stuff in the house. So she started disposing of his property. And not only his property.
How did she dispose of your father's property?
Dump.
Is your mother crazy? No.
No.
You think she would dispose of stuff in a dump that was worthwhile, that she could have sold for some money? Of course she would have. So she took the stuff that was junk and she got rid of it. So what are you complaining about?
It was junk to her. We never got offered none of this stuff. She never said...
Okay, you mean she took it upon herself. Your mother took it upon herself to decide what was junk and what was good stuff, and you felt that she should have consulted her children. She should have consulted her children about that before she got rid of it.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Get over it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. McCullough says, after his father died, his mother, Belinda McCullough, threw out property belonging to him, his siblings, and his deceased father.
You have a life? Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
You have a wife?
I'm engaged.
You're engaged, but you have children?
Yes.
Are you engaged to the mother of your children?
No, I have custody of my children.
Okay. How old are your children?
My daughter's 7, going to be 8.
Yeah.
And my son's 5.
Okay. And you make judgments with regard to things?
Yes.
Is that right? Without consulting them, right?
Yes.
Because you are their what?
Parent.
And how old is your mother? Do you know?
No, I don't.
You don't know how old your mother is? How old are you?
53.
Your mother's 53. She raised 6 children, right?
Yes.
And when she and your father separated, was your father ill?
Yes, he was.
What was the nature of his illness?
He had esophagus problems.
What was the nature of his illness?
He had illness due to his esophagus, but it was due to alcohol and drugs.
And you moved out of the house after how many years with him?
27.
Did your father have a problem with drugs and alcohol?
Yes, he did.
So you think it was easy for your mother to raise 6 children with a man who had problems with drugs and alcohol?
No.
So you think that she was forced to make judgments every day with regard to not only what was best for her children, but what was best for her husband, who had problems, and her? You think she was called on to do that?
Yes.
And you think she held a meeting every time she had to make one of those decisions?
No.
You think she made more weighty decisions about whether something was an old couch that was a piece of junk or a good couch that she could sell for $25? You think she made really important decisions over 25 years? So why would you think, Mr. McCullough, that after she moves back into the house, which she left because she said he was sick, she was nice enough not to tell me why he was sick. He was sick and I felt as if he should stay at the house. That after he died, she moves back into the house, and the house is full of junk, somebody who's got a drug problem, an alcohol problem. So she moves her good stuff back into the house, her stuff that she wants to live with, and gets rid of his old junk. You think she should have to stop and say, I have to ask all of my 6 children, get together and have a meeting to figure out what we should do with this $35 couch? Mr. McCullough, Your mother probably had a very difficult time for 25 years with your father, right?
Yes.
Despite that, it appears to me as if you are a nice young man. You got your priorities out of kilter, Mr. McCullough. Was your father a rich man?
No, he wasn't.
Is your mother a rich woman?
No, she wasn't.
Ms. McCullough, is there anything in any of those cubbies or lockers that you still have in the house?
Your Honor, I got pictures. This is the locker. This is some of the stuff that I took out of the house. It's on the porch.
Can I see it, please? Do you have any of his memorabilia, your son's memorabilia, his... who are you?
Your Honor, I'm his sister and her daughter. There is stuff still in the basement that hasn't been removed. The weight set is still in the basement, and if there's any memorabilia, it could either be in the shed or in the basement. There is boxes full of stuff.
Tell me your name.
Julia Ferfaro.
Julia, will you do me a favor?
Yes.
He wants his weight set back.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I want you to take a look and see if there are any trophies there.
Okay.
What kind of trophies are they?
Your Honor, I have a picture of my trophies in a garbage can on the front porch.
Well, if they're on the garbage can on the front porch, why didn't you take them, sir? Who took the picture?
My brother took the picture.
Well, if your brother took the picture, why didn't he take the trophies out of the garbage can?
Because he didn't want, because there was a restraining order put in place saying that nothing should be removed from the home.
Oh, stop. If your brother was close enough to the house to see in the garbage can that your trophies were in the garbage can, he should have taken them out of the garbage can. Make arrangements for him to get his weight set. Mr. McCullough,
Yes.
Grow up, sir. Did you consent to an order of protection? Your mother filed for a restraining order. She said you were harassing her and a person that lives in the house with her. She has a boyfriend living in the house now?
Yes.
No, he doesn't live there.
Or he was there. So there was a protective order. Did you consent to a protective order being issued against you?
I consented to a second restraining order.
Fine. Then you can't sue on it, sir. Put your hand down. Grow up. Your mother has not had a very easy life. Why don't we try making it easier for her, not more difficult, sir? You're getting your weight set back, and if you can't make up with your mother after all the times and years that she took care of you, that is your problem. Do not visit that on me. Your weight set's going to be returned to you within 3 days. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
With Judge Judy talking to him, I pray that what she said, you know, really goes deep into his heart.
She benefited from my father's death when she was his ex-wife.
I just think he's angry because my mother had divorced my father and she was moving on with her life.
I've got 3 other brothers that are on my side.
I just think it's unfortunate that it tears a family apart.
Notary Public Marlene Ruddock is suing her ex-boyfriend, bail bondsman Tim Dean, for forging documents and stealing her possessions. Tim is countersuing for harassment.
Now, this is case number 139 on the calendar in the matter of Ruddock versus Dean. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Ruddock, it is your claim that the defendant has your property from your home, television, furniture, etc. The defendant says that you sold him this property, and he has a notarized bill of sale to prove it. How do you know him?
Years ago, when I was in property management, I leased him and his best friend an apartment. And through the years, I had gotten married. Recently, we had gone back in contact.
How did you do that?
I had made a phone call to him. Me and my husband were having issues at the time. And
were you and your husband still living together?
No, we were separated.
So you contacted him for what purpose?
We were together at one time.
You were a couple?
Yes.
My question is, you contacted him why?
Out of caring feelings, that kind of thing.
Okay. When did you contact him?
I believe it was in September.
And you and your husband were not living together at the time?
No.
Okay. So how did he come into possession of your furniture?
Back in November, around Thanksgiving time, he works with a bail bond company, and him and his friends had gone into one of their clients' homes and were staking it out. And they were waiting for the client to come back into the home and get money back from him so he could be released. And my notary stamp was involved in this, and he clearly told me that he had taken it, used my name, signed my name on this power of attorney to remove the belongings from this home.
Just a second. What does that have to do with your furniture?
What that has to do with it is the state of Nevada had pressed charges on him and had got in contact with me in December.
Just a second. So far, all you've told me is that in September of 2003, you were separated from your husband, and you put in a call to Mr. Dean because you and he were a couple at one time.
Correct.
That's all I heard. Then I heard some bubba-meises about him being in somebody else's house with Richard Dreyfuss on a stakeout. Do you understand?
Correct.
We're not at your house yet.
Okay.
With your furniture.
Basically, what happened in December is I'd been contacted by the state of Nevada.
No, you're back there again, Mrs. Ruddock.
I had to leave for my safety.
Mrs. Ruddock, I don't know how he came to live in your house, madam.
Because he had established residence there.
Well, we didn't get to that. So let's go back to September when you placed a phone call to him. You said hello. He said hello.
We became a couple again.
I don't know what that means, we became a couple.
He moved into my home.
When did he move into your home?
Probably the first part of October, along with his daughter. Then in December, I was contacted by the state of Nevada that my car had been involved in a criminal activity.
Your what?
My Cadillac, my car, my vehicle that Mr. Dean had been driving. And at that time, me and him had decided to go our separate ways, and he had contacted me when I was at work on my cell phone telling me to bring his belongings back to him. Or I could say sorry, and this would all go away.
Just a second. Miss Ruddock, you are all over the place, and I'm having a really difficult time following you, madam. Was he living in your home, or was he not living in your home?
Yes, he was living in my home.
So in December, he was living in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And at that time, on that same day...
What day?
It was December 8th or the 7th of 2003.
Okay.
And he had called telling me if I didn't bring his car back to him, then everything could be okay with us if I said sorry. I feared for my safety at that time because I'd been in contact with the state of Nevada. I got my children and went to California because I had told them what I knew, what he'd done with my notary stamp in forging my name on this power of attorney where it goes back in November. And I left with my children at that time for fear of my safety. When I came back on December 14th, I had called the police, and they went up with me. They looked at the 5-day on the notice, and the cop handed it to me. He says, "Are you aware that you've been served this 5-day?"
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This 5-day right here.
What do you mean you have been served with a 5-day?
That's what
a 5-day what?
A 5-day notice to leave my home.
Who was on the lease in your home?
My husband, myself, and my children. This is the lease right here. So I held the original lease.
Well, your children can't sign a lease.
No, but they just put 2 adults, 2 children.
Okay. December 7th or 8th you left. Is that what you say? And you came back on December 14th. And between December 7th or 8th and December 14th is when you say he came into possession of your furniture and your belongings?
Correct.
Is that right? Correct. Okay. All right, Mr. Dean. You do not deny that you have Mrs. Ruddock's furniture and television, et cetera, but it is your claim that she sold you all this property. Is that
yes,
right?
Your Honor.
All right. So let me hear how she sold you the property, sir.
Well, let's put a little clarity on this. As Ms. Ruddock was saying, I knew her years ago. She was dating my bounty hunting partner at the time. And once they broke it off, we dated for a couple weeks till I found out that she was still seeing her husband.
Okay. Listen to me. I don't want to go back that far,
okay,
Mr. Dean. You have her furniture. Prove to me, sir, that she sold it to you because she owed you money.
That's what I think, but what it is, it was another little thing she was doing as far as so her husband wouldn't get half the belongings.
You swore in your answer, sir, that she sold you her furniture because she owed you money. That's what you said. So I want you to try sticking to one story. Explain to me how she owed you money, for what, and when she sold you the furniture.
She told me that she was selling me the furniture for the money that she owed me, but I knew because...
Just a minute. Tell me what money she owed, Mr. Dean.
I'd paid off her warrants.
Paid off her warrants. Warrants for what?
For bad checks, Your Honor.
Okay. And you paid them off how, sir?
By giving her the money which she never used to pay the warrants.
Show me.
Show you?
Show me check, money order, withdrawal from a bank.
I gave her cash, Your Honor.
Show me check, money order, or withdrawal from the bank.
I don't have that, Your Honor. Just my daughter is a witness attesting to that.
I'm not going to ask her a question. I mean, what do you think you were coming to court for, sir? The tea dance?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Ex-boyfriend Tim Dean forged documents in order to steal her belongings. Tim says Marlene was trying to hide property from her ex-husband.
First of all, let me see the bill of sale, and then you're going to explain to me exactly how she was compensated for her furniture. Show me the bill of sale and then explain to me how she was
The officers
compensated.
gave it to her. She has a copy of it, Your Honor.
You have the bill of sale?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. And this is also...
Don't speak. Just show it to me. I have a feeling you two of you deserve each other.
This is forged, Your Honor. That's what my...
I didn't ask you a thing. I asked you for the bill of sale. Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, I think that you're a con artist as well. I know he is. I don't think you're much better. We'll show this to him. Let's see if this is... Is that the bill of sale, sir, that you showed the police?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Dean. So I am correct, sir. When she came back on December the 14th, she said, give me my furniture back. You said, I have a bill of sale, right? She sold me the furniture.
Correct.
Right? She sold you the furniture for a big screen Mitsubishi television set for $1, all household furnishings for $1, all tools for $1, all appliances for $1, all wall hangers for $1, all bedding for $1, and the 1993 Cadillac Eldorado for $2.50.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, are you still living in the apartment, sir?
It's a house, Your Honor.
Are you
yes.
still living in the house?
Correct.
Good. With all of this stuff? With all of this stuff?
No. The only thing.
Yeah, listen to me,
The
sir.
only thing of value was the big screen TV. In fact, everything
Now
else.
listen to me, sir. Now I want you to listen to me very, very carefully.
Okay.
Did I tell you about 5 minutes ago that I'm smarter than you are? I don't think you believe me. This is not a bill of sale that reflects the value of this property.
Exactly. Your
And
Honor.
if what you're telling me is that you knew that what Miss Ruddock was trying to do was to fraudulently convey marital property to you, is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
Then what I'm telling you is this isn't worth anything. Do you understand? If you are aware that she is trying to commit a fraud and you are complicit in that, then this goes in the garbage. Do you understand, Mr. Dean?
She owed me the money, Your Honor.
No, now we're getting back to, she owed me the money. And what I'm telling you is, show me. I want you to show me. And if you can't, say, I can't.
I can't, Your Honor.
Good. Then I find that that is a fraudulent conveyance, and within 5 days, she will be there with a moving van to pick up all the items on that piece of garbage, including all of the household furniture, the television, etc.
Everything of those items is mine, Your Honor. As far
Listen
as
to
my...
me. Listen to me, sir. Show me. Show me,
Those
Mr.
items
Dean.
are mine.
That is too bad. And I'm telling you, she is coming to pick up your property.
No, she's
the
not, Your
property,
Honor.
sir. Yes, 5 days from today. Absolutely, Mr. Dean. That is what's going to happen, sir. Now let's get to your counterclaim. I don't want to hear anything else. Counterclaim, Mr. Dean.
Your Honor, I know exactly what's going on here, and I don't appreciate it.
That's too bad, sir. If you're not going to get your counterclaim is dismissed with prejudice. Step out. 5 days from today, the court will
Thank you,
enter an
Your
order.
Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've got a temporary restraining order from this woman.
As I've said before, he's a shyster.
She slashed my tires.
Me slashing tires is not my style, that's his.
She tried to tow my vehicles.
He knows that everything he said was a lie.
She's psycho.
I'm glad Judge Judy ruled in my favor.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Eden versus Neely. Step forward, please.
18-year-old student Desiree Eden is suing her father's girlfriend, EMT tech Susan Neely, for the return of payments on a Dodge Neon she repossessed. Susan is countersuing for the vehicle's unpaid balance and insurance payments.
Who are you?
I'm the dad.
Why don't you stand up, sir? Miss Eden, while this gentleman, who's your father, is not a defendant, I'm going to have him stand here because I think it's important. Miss Neely is your father's girlfriend. They live together, is that right?
Yes.
According to what I read, a couple of years ago, you needed a car. You were living with your father and his girlfriend. And Miss Neely agreed to buy a car. You were underage, so it was in her name. And tell me what the agreement was.
The agreement was that I paid the car payments on the car as it came. I paid the $1,000 down plus the car payments on it.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
From when to when?
From November 2003 to November 26th of 2004.
And you made the payments every month?
Yes.
Who paid the insurance?
I paid it when she asked for it.
The agreement was that you would make the monthly payments.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Neely, is it correct that Ms. Eden made the monthly payments on the car from November of 2003 to November of 2004?
Her last payment was on November the 12th.
So the answer would be yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happened in November of 2004?
Okay, the day after Thanksgiving, she decided that she was going to move out and move in with her boyfriend. And I told her she could not take the car because that car was in my name. It was titled in my name. And I would not let her have it because if something should happen and they go out and have a wreck and kill somebody, it comes back on me. So I told her she had to leave the car with me, and if she came with the balance owed against the car, then I would sign it over to her.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a second.
She did not come up with the $2,201.93 that was owed against the car, so I would not allow her to have it.
Well, wasn't your agreement. Ms. Neely, that wasn't your agreement.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Eden says her father's girlfriend, Susan Neely, illegally repossessed her car. Susan says she took the car away when Desiree moved in with her boyfriend.
When did you turn 18?
May 23rd.
Of 2004?
Of 2004.
Once she turned 18 and continued to make the payments, and you continued to accept the payments, that contract that you had with her, that verbal contract, was ratified, which meant it became a contract. That contract's terms were very simple. You make the payments until the car is paid off, I'll sign the title over to you. That was your contract.
But she's no longer making payments. She
stopped making payments because you wouldn't let her take the car.
Correct.
What we're talking about is an anticipatory breach, which is you said to yourself, I'm not so sure whether she's going to continue to make the payments on the car if she's not here and living with the boyfriend, so I'm not going to let her have the car. That's what you really said.
Well, our insurance company told us that.
Hey, don't tell me what your insurance company told you. The insurance company cannot interpret a contract that you had with her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, when it was told to her when we decided to get the car for her, it was also told that she would stay in school, and it depended on her grades. That way we could also use the car. If she starts slipping a little bit, we could take the car away from her.
She hadn't slipped? Sir, she just decided to move out and move in with her boyfriend.
Exactly. But after that is when she lost her job. She quit school.
I did not.
But just a second. Just a second. Mr. Eden, at the time she left, she was making the payments.
Yes.
She was in school.
Yep.
And she had a job.
Yes.
You can't anticipate what's going to happen afterwards. Where's the car now?
It is at my house.
They have it for sale for $2,500.
Car is hers.
Okay, who pays the rest of the...
She does.
Okay. Does she pay that to us or to the car dealership or...
Are you working?
No, ma'am.
Well, how are you going to make the payments on the car?
Well, I just moved back into my mom's here recently. I have to get another job.
Where's the boyfriend?
Right here.
How come you moved out of his house?
We both moved into my mom's house. We were having too much problems in Monette where we were living with him. He had assaulted me shortly after I moved out.
Who did?
My father. I had to get a restraining order against him on December 8th. He assaulted me on December 7th.
About what?
About he was mad that I moved out and I was living with him.
Does he work?
Yes, he does.
What does he do?
He is
Don't
in
look down.
factory.
What?
Factory.
And what about you?
I'm in school, high school.
How do you do in high school?
I do really good. I have good grades.
You do really well.
I do really well. I try.
I have a report card from when she left.
We don't need you to do any negatives.
Okay, I just sort of...
Listen to me. Is he in school?
No, he's not.
How old is he?
22.
Do you have the ability to do better in school?
Yes, ma'am.
It's really dumb to hitch your wagon to a star when you're 18 years old, especially when the star isn't such a star. Unless you get an education, it's going to be a struggle your whole life. You want to struggle your whole life?
No, Your Honor.
You know what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
You look like you have the potential to do okay. Unless you recognize your potential, you're going to be clawing at life your whole life. I think that taking back this car is probably going to be a terrible burden for you, financially, because you don't have the money for it now, right?
Right.
So you put in $4,000 into the car in the year that you had it, in payments that you made.
Correct.
Let's say you had to rent a car, a basic car, for the year. That would have cost you about $2,000 or $166 a month, basic. So you have the following choice. Either you assume full financial responsibility for this car, or I'm prepared to award you half of what you're requesting, which is $2,000, which might give you an opportunity of going and finding a good second-hand car that wouldn't give you any further payments. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Ms. Neely and your father can go and sell this car. If they make a profit, fine. If they don't, fine. You think that's a smarter idea for you?
Yes, I do, because I don't know what they've done. I'm not sure what they've done to the car since I haven't had it.
Well, I don't think they've purposely done anything. They're trying to sell it. All right. You can't anticipate a breach of a contract. You had an agreement with this young lady, and she fulfilled her end of the agreement. She used the car for a year, over a year. She understands that that's wear and tear on the car. I'm awarding her $2,000. Be smart. Buy wheels so that you can get yourself to and from school and to and from a part-time job. Do well in school. Think a little higher than what you know. Think a little higher, think. Can I reach my potential, and what is that?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any children, do you?
Oh, no.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you don't plan on any for a while, right?
No, ma'am.
Very smart. Make sure. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Is suing her former stepson, 21-year-old assistant manager Parker Bogardus, for unpaid slip fees and damages to her boat.
Yeah, this case number 533 on the calendar in the matter of Loman versus Bogardus. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Lohman, this young man is your stepson.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still married to his father?
No, I'm not.
So he's your former stepson.
Right.
How many years were you married to his father?
7 years.
And how old was he?
He's 21.
How old was he when you were married to his father?
In his teens,
In his
early
teens. According to your complaint, you maintained a nice relationship with him even after you separated from his father.
Yes, ma'am.
And he approached you sometime in April of last year and asked if he could rent a houseboat that you own. You made an agreement that as long as he paid the dock fees, which was sort of like the rent, and he was going to do some work on the houseboat, that you would let him rent it. So you really weren't asking him for any rent for the boat itself, but he was supposed to pay for the dock fees. You claimed that for the 9 months that he lived there, from April until December, he did not pay you rent, did not pay the dock fees.
No.
Put your hand down. And when you finally received notice that he wasn't paying the dock fees and asked him to leave, you went to see what the place looked like, and it was a disaster that he damaged
Just a
it.
pigsty.
Okay. Mr. Bogardus says that he, in fact, paid the dock fees every month. He paid them to you, either some in cash and some by check. That's what you say in your answer. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
And that he did a lot of work around the houseboat. He put in moldings and he fixed it up, so he doesn't know what you're complaining about, right?
Yes, that is.
Okay. You did, in fact, move into the houseboat in April of 2004.
Yes, I did.
And you were there until December of 2004.
Yes.
How much were the dock fees?
Like $395.
Well, you shouldn't have to think about it. How much were the dock fees?
$395.
And you paid those each month from
Yes, I did.
April until December.
Till December 1st.
You paid some by check, some cash.
Yes, mostly by cash.
But you paid, according to you, some by
Yeah.
check. So
Yeah.
now I'll see the checks that you gave her for the $395.
I don't have any check stubs from it. I'm real bad on keeping stuff like that with me.
How old are you?
21.
Let me explain something to you. When you have a checking account, and we're talking about something that happened a couple of months ago, and you know you're coming to court, Mr. Bogardus, and you say that you paid some by check, you bring the checks, and you don't say, I'm real bad about it. You're not bad about getting yourself up and trimming your goatee in the morning, are you?
No, I'm not, Your Honor.
Then you bring the checks if you're coming to court. If you want me to believe you. Otherwise, I think that you're full of baloney. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, Did you work from April until December?
Yes, I did.
Who did you work for?
Subway sandwiches.
And you're paid by check?
Yes, I am.
How did you pay her the cash payments that you made each month?
I withdrawed it from my checking account.
Show me the paperwork where you withdrew $395 each month to give her for the dock fees.
I don't have any of those receipts.
Well, what did you think you were coming here for today, sir? For me to tell you how nice your hair was combed?
No.
Well, what did you think you were coming for?
To defend myself, so
Well, how can you defend yourself without any proof, sir?
Guess I can't.
You guess right. Because if one had the proof, one would bring it. And if you didn't bring it, it's because it doesn't exist. How much were the dock fees?
$395 a month.
$3,555 for the dock fees over the 9 months that he was there, which he didn't pay because he has no proof that he paid it. Now, let's get to the way the boat looked when you reclaimed it. You have photographs?
I do have some photographs.
I'd like to see it.
The first picture is what the boat looked like on the outside. The outside was not messed up like the inside, fortunately.
This isn't a houseboat, it's a boat.
It's a
sailboat.
It's Sleep 6. It's a sloop.
But it's not a houseboat.
No.
It's not called a houseboat.
The bottom picture is a microwave, and he put a metal rack in it. Now everybody knows that a metal rack.
All right.
Your Honor.
What?
I did not put a metal rack.
Okay.
I'm not that
So
stupid
far, I
to
don't
know
see anything that
you
looks
don't-
so untoward. Do you have any other pictures you want me to, see?
On the next page, the hole that's in the bottom, that's in front of the sink, and then also the generator that was missing. That was so he could do the work on the houseboat.
What do you mean it was missing? I don't understand.
It's no longer there.
What happened to the generator?
I don't know. Someone could have stolen it off from where the house was, or the boat was. Why would I steal a stupid little generator?
I also have a price list if you'd like these.
No.
Before Parker moved in, I bought a new stovetop with oven for him to put in. He said he'd replace these things for me. I bought the microwave for him to put in, also the generator. Then I've got all the things that you make it so it converts into things. And then I bought a refrigerator, which was also, when I walked in, the place, it looked like he partied, just had a great old time.
Loman, let me explain something to you. Boys take a lot longer to mature. This one, even if he's a good kid, and I don't know whether he is or whether he isn't, I assume that if you let him use this expensive piece of property, that you thought he was a good kid. They're all babies. They sort of catch up from the time before they get to Social Security. Sometimes they get smart. But if you rent to a teenager a party boat and expect him not to party, Miss Loman, you're operating somewhere out there on Pluto.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Tisa Loman says her former stepson, Parker Bogardus, trashed her boat. Tisa also claims Parker owes for unpaid slip fees.
Okay. So the fact that he left food out and the place reeked, because that's what you say, that if you walked in there and it smelled, it looked like it hadn't been cleaned in months. He's lucky he cleans himself. He's lucky he cleans himself. She did something very nice for you, Mr. Bogardus. She doesn't owe you a thing. She didn't hatch you. She didn't bring you up until you were a teenager. She did something very nice, and you rewarded her by not doing the right thing. And that always comes back to bite you in the behind. And if it doesn't come back today to bite you in the behind, someday you'll do something nice for somebody else, and they will repay your kindness by an unkindness, and you'll know how it feels.
I guess I will when it happens then.
Yeah, I guess you will. Right now, you're going to pay $3,550. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We'll never have a relationship again, which is a bummer.
I'm not a bad guy. I paid what I had to pay.
Well, I loved him like a son.
I guess so. Well, then she's not my real mom.
12-year-old Mackenzie Hammond and her mother, Janita Bowden, are suing 12-year-old Brett Williams and his mother, Deborah Duncan. Mackenzie claims Brett punched her in the face, breaking her glasses.
This is case number 558 on the calendar in the matter of Bowden versus Duncan. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Your name is Mackenzie, is that right?
Yes.
What's your name?
Brett.
Brett. All right. Your lawsuit says that this young man punched your daughter and broke her glasses.
Yes.
Brett says your daughter started it, right, Brett? How old are you, Brett?
12.
Who was this?
Jason.
Jason was with you when this happened?
Yes.
But your mother wasn't with you, is that right?
No.
So your mother's going to sit down. Tell me how her glasses got broken.
They didn't break. The lens got scratched.
If lens gets scratched, you can't wear them. Tell me what happened.
Well, it started at the soccer field.
Do you remember the date?
No, I don't remember.
Well, you remember what month it was in?
January.
Is that right?
January 29th.
January. Go ahead.
We were at the soccer field.
Who's we?
Me and Jason. And she kicked a ball, and it was coming towards me, and she wasn't anywhere near it yet. And so I kicked it back, and she came over and shoved me.
How did she shove you?
She went up like that, up to my shoulder.
She shoved you on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you say anything to her?
No, I told her not to do it again, or I was going to tell the manager.
Where was this? Where were you playing?
Sluggers.
What?
Sluggers.
I don't know what Sluggers is.
It's sports center.
Indoors?
Yeah. Yes.
Better. So she kicked the ball, you kicked it away, she came over and she shoved you on your shoulder.
Yes.
What happened then?
Well, then we left, and then...
Where did you go?
We went to the basketball court.
Is that also indoors?
Yeah. Then she and... What?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Afterwards, she and Mackenzie got them two over there, and they were following, and then she came...
They were following who?
Me and Jason.
They were following the two of you?
Yeah.
Why do you think that they were following the two of you?
I don't know.
You think that these two people were picking on you?
I don't know. They weren't saying anything to us.
They were just following you?
Yeah, they didn't say nothing.
Okay. And what happened next?
Well, she came up and kicked me between the legs.
Just a second. Stand up, Jason. Move over to him. No, now move back over there. Show me how she kicked you between your legs.
She came up and went like that. When I was
so it
walking
hit you on the back of your knee?
No, right
Where?
in the private area.
She kicked you in your private area. She must be a rocket. You can sit down now. And then what happened?
Then after that, I kept walking, and then she grabbed my hoodie from the behind like this, and she started punching me up here in the spinal cord, and then I turned around and punched her.
Now, where were these two people when she came up to you and kicked you?
They left before she kicked me, and they went to a car or something, and then there's these other kids, Rance and Easton, that were egging them on.
Egging who on?
Them two.
Egging them on? How were they egging them on?
They were provoking them while they were in the car.
Well, how were they Tell me how they were provoking them.
They were saying that they can't do nothing about what was going on, that they aren't going to do nothing, and they were flipping them off.
Did you know Mackenzie from before that day?
No.
So you still haven't explained to me why you punched her.
She hit me first, and I was self-defending myself.
Because she was grabbing hold of your hoodie?
Yeah, and then she started punching me.
Did it hurt you? Really? After you punched her, what did you do?
She knocked her glasses off and ran off, and then I picked them up and sat them on the counter, and afterwards I went behind the counter with the worker because he said he wouldn't let the lady do anything.
Which lady?
Her.
You mean she came back looking for you?
Yeah.
And the person who worked at the sports center took you behind the counter?
Yeah.
Because they were afraid that this lady was going to beat you up?
They were afraid that she was going to do something, and they were afraid.
So they took you behind the counter?
Yes.
And then what happened? Correct.
Then after that, she came back in with their daughter, and they got their glasses, and she started yelling at us, and Rance and Easton were smart looking again, and then she was chewing them out, and then she told me to call my mom, and I did, and she talked to my mom about what happened, and that afterwards she hung up and left after my mom told her that she was going to be there to talk to her, and she left. And then afterwards we looked for her, and then we couldn't find her, and then we left.
Have you been back to the sports center?
Since? No.
Why not?
Because the guy said not to come back for a while.
Right. And why do you think the guy told you not to come back, Brett?
So I don't cause any more problems.
That sounds right. And did they also tell your friend Jason not to come back?
No.
Just you?
Me and Rance and Easton.
So the three of you were told don't bother to come back?
Yeah, but since Rance and Easton were on the baseball team, they get to come back.
But not you?
Not me.
Think that's unfair?
No.
You think that you behaved badly that day?
Yes.
Good. You did. You think your friends were sort of troublemakers?
Yes.
How old are they?
Easton, I don't know, and Rance, I think he's 13.
You're 12. So you're the youngest. You like to hang around with guys who are a little bit older?
Yes.
Okay, who are you?
I'm her sister.
Okay, so you want to tell me what you saw that day?
I was sitting by my mother watching my younger sister Cody playing her soccer game at Sluggers. And Mackenzie came up, and I believe it was the second time she had come up, and she asked my mother if she could defend herself because some boys were calling her names and said they were going to beat her up.
What were they calling you, Mackenzie?
Blue eyes and nice twitching.
You think that's nice?
No.
Don't even suggest to me that nobody said that to Mackenzie, because we know that they did.
It was Easton and Rance that were...
With somebody else?
Yes.
Somebody else did it. You know what we used to call that? The Sadi principle. Remember that? Some other dude did it. Why were they calling her names?
Because, I think because she twitches. I'm not sure. But I told them not to, but they just kept going.
You told them not to? You, age 12, told these boys that you were trying to impress. Don't tease the little girl. That's not nice. You told them that?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. You, who ended up punching her, told the other two boys who were merely calling her names, don't call her names. Is that what you want me to believe? Brett?
Yes.
I don't!
Judge Judy continues in a moment. 10-year-old Mackenzie Hammond says 12-year-old Brett Williams punched her in the face and broke her glasses. Brett says Mackenzie hit him first.
So your sister said to you, can I defend myself?
She said that to my mother, but I was sitting there and heard it. And then my mother sent me and my boyfriend down to see what was going on, because Mackenzie doesn't get in fights, she doesn't get in trouble.
And when you went down there, what happened?
We went to go see what was going on, what the boys, why they were bugging them, what the side of the story were. And there was 4 boys, and they all ran into the bathroom and hid.
Everybody had to go to the bathroom the same time?
No, I didn't go in there. I went behind the counter.
You hid behind the counter, the other 3 went into the bathroom?
No, me and Jason went behind the counter.
So the 2 of you hid behind the counter, and 2 of your friends, the 2 who were teasing her, ran into the bathroom?
Yes.
That's not right.
Can I see the bill for the glasses, please? Stand up with him now. Brett, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Brothers or sisters?
Both.
How old is your brother?
11 and 4.
And what about a sister?
14 and 2.
Okay. How would you feel if your sister wasn't very nice looking and some kids were teasing her and making her feel sad and cry? How would you feel?
Bad.
What would you do?
Tell the other people not to.
Because it really isn't nice to tease other people.
Right.
Especially not right to tease other people if they have a physical disability. Right?
Right.
You would never do that, would you?
Probably would.
You did. Anything you want to say to me?
No, ma'am.
Good. Judge the plaintiff for the amount of $517, that's all. Now you can apologize.
Sorry for punching you.
Why does that excuse? Can I step out?
I don't feel that I should have paid for the whole thing since my kid wasn't the only one involved.
Oh, there were 4 boys and they were definitely all involved, but her son is the one that actually punched my daughter and broke the glasses.
It was a little bit of both sides, not just one.
It was up to her to go after the other boys for their part of it.
She threw the first swing and I was doing self-defense.
I feel that it was very fair because Brett lied on just about everything.
Mackenzie walked away 4 different times from this kid. They even pursued her to the car and beat on the car.
Don't hit if you don't want to get hit back.
Given the fact that the kid has been in trouble before with the law, I hope he gets some help. Think he needs it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hill versus Secord, step forward, please.
Field Tech Stephen Hill is suing his wife's ex-husband, cable installer George Secord, for a furniture debt. Stephen says George is not abiding by his divorce agreement.
Mr. Hill, you are currently married to the defendant's former wife.
Correct.
How long had you been married to Mrs. Hill?
Nearly 10 years.
Do you have children?
2.
How old are they?
11 and 15.
And when were you divorced?
1999.
You had a separation agreement?
Yes.
And the separation agreement was incorporated into the terms of your divorce?
Yes.
You were represented by an attorney?
Correct.
And your former wife had an attorney?
She sure did.
And the 2 of you, through your attorneys, got together and hammered out the terms of an amicable support.
Correct.
the distribution of marital property,
Yes.
and the distribution of debts.
Yep.
Yes would be your answer.
Yes.
According to the terms of the judgment of divorce, the defendant agreed to assume certain marital debt. The debt that is in question is for furniture.
Correct.
Furniture which he kept.
Yes.
And he said, I want to keep the furniture, I'm going to pay for it. And he didn't.
Correct.
Certainly the credit card company that financed this furniture wasn't a party to your judgment of divorce. Mr. Secord, is that correct?
No, they weren't.
So they weren't letting your former wife off the hook because she was a signatory on the loan.
Right.
So when you did not pay pursuant to your judgment of divorce that debt, they went after your former wife.
Right.
And since she and her present husband had a joint bank account, right?
Yes.
They attached his bank account. Mr. Hill was forced to pay this $4,700 in order to get his bank account back and to clear his wife's credit. Now, in what year, sir, did they attach your bank account?
That'd be 2004.
And the divorce was in 1999.
Correct.
So I'd like you to explain to me, Mr. Secord, between 1999 and, say, 2002, why you did not take care of this debt.
I was in litigation with the company to work out a payment to be washed of the whole thing, which at that
Just a
time...
second, you're talking gibberish to me now.
They were ready to settle for 15 cents on the dollar to wipe the whole bill out at that point. And I, at that time, told them, yes, I'd take it. And I was unable to settle up with them in the time they wanted to be settled with, so they went after her. And when they went after her, she didn't go to court to stand up for herself or show them that there was a divorce agreement and it was my bill now. And they got a judgment against her. Eventually, after they got married...
You're looking at him as if he's a god. Who are you?
Excuse me?
I said you're looking at him as if he's a god.
Maybe
Would you
he
please
is.
would you please tell me who you are?
I'm his girlfriend.
Your girlfriend. Ooh. Listen to me. Do you have children?
No.
Keep it that way. Listen to me, Mr. Secord. Let us understand each other, sir. You have 2 children with this lady, and you did the wrong thing. And when you stand there and make a fool of yourself in front of 10 million people, it's really irritating. You assumed a responsibility. I'm speaking. You assumed a responsibility. Your responsibility, pursuant to the judgment of divorce, was to take care of this debt. By you settling with the company for 15 cents on the dollar, that takes the credit of both you and your wife down about 10 pegs. Because if somebody else wants to lend her money, they're going to look and they're going to say, listen, the last debt she incurred, she got rid of by paying off 15 cents on the dollar. They don't care who paid it off. It's a bad debt.
Well,
that's something that you... Hey. What do you do?
If she was so concerned about it, why didn't
Throw
she
her
go
out
to
of
court?
here. Throw her out of here. Throw her out. Throw her out.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Not necessary. Does it sound like you're losing? The only losing thing that you did was make 2 children with him. I hope they're nice children, and I hope you take good care of them, because he's a loser. And you're very lucky to have gotten rid of him before you wasted any more time with him. I'm sure it cost you a lot more. This is not going to cost you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,700. That's all. Put him out, too.
Well, parties are excused. You may step out.
He was unwilling to pay for debts that he incurred, and the only way to get any money from him is to take him to court.
Well, it was just a lack of communication and not getting things taken care of in the proper form that it should have been.
Financial hardships. Our checking account got frozen right after we had 2 newborn twins.
I'm sorry that it had to come to this.
Women are evil.
Ruth Irwin is suing her granddaughter's ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old sales associate David Berlin, for babysitting fees, child care costs, and a broken door. David is countersuing for mental anguish and the return of his TV.
It's case number 547 on the calendar in the matter of Irwin versus Berlin. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Miss Irwin, Mr. Berlin is your granddaughter's ex-boyfriend?
Right, Your Honor.
And you claim he owes you some money for babysitting for his daughter?
Yes, Your Honor, it was a copay.
Just a second. And then for some furniture that you purchased, which enabled him to get custody of his daughter from a previous relationship.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Your granddaughter and the defendant have a child together?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in addition to that, sir, you have a child from another relationship.
That's correct.
The child from the other relationship is how old?
2.5.
And there came a time when you were contacted with regard to gaining custody of this child because the mother was a drug abuser?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
I believe it was November of 2004.
And at that time, where were you living?
At that time, I was living in a place in Portland, Oregon.
Who were you living with?
It was with Jennifer at the time.
Jennifer is Miss Irwin's granddaughter?
Correct.
And your child with her?
Correct.
When you were contacted about taking your daughter, did you at any time move in with Mrs. Irwin?
Basically, they moved in with us, and then we had to get a...
Who's they?
Ruth Irwin and also her son, Sean, moved in with us, and then we had to get a bigger place because I was basically getting custody of my daughter.
Now, what arrangement did you make with Mrs. Irwin as far as babysitting for your daughter while you worked? I assume you were working?
Correct.
Go ahead.
The arrangement was basically that she was going to watch my kid while I was at work, and at first it was okay, no payment involved. After a while it became that she wanted to get paid for it, which I could see, it's understandable. So I went to the DHS office and...
DHS?
Department of Human Resources.
So that you didn't earn enough to pay for child care, so you were getting state subsidized care.
Correct.
And the agreement was, Miss Irwin, with the state, was that you were going to get $300 a month.
No, Your Honor.
How much a month?
The state did not pay me no $300 a month.
How much did they pay you?
The state paid me, on an average, $192 a month, and David was to match a copay, which he got extra food stamps to compensate.
Just a second, I'm speaking. You say he was to give you $169
yes.
a month? For how many months did you babysit?
4 months.
Did she babysit for 4 months?
This is correct.
Okay. In the contract that you had with the state, the contract said that you were to make a co-payment, right?
Right.
You did not make the co-payment.
Right, but that's because we had a verbal agreement to not pay.
Oh, well, I want to hear about the verbal agreement you had with Mrs. Irwin not to pay her $169 a month.
Okay. Basically, the verbal agreement was that I was going to use this money that I didn't pay her towards extra bills around the house.
What bills?
Such as water, sewage, power, rent.
So what you're telling me is you paid the water bill?
Part of it.
No, you...
Of course you paid part of the water bill, sir. You were living there.
Correct.
I would expect you to pay part of the water bill. What else?
Paid cable, power.
Just a second. You paid it the whole thing or part of it?
Half of it, actually. She paid a quarter.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
That is a bull-faced lie, David.
Miss Irwin.
You knew
Miss Irwin, do you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor, I do. But
good.
Will I get my opportunity to talk?
No, not unless I ask you a question. This is not a tea dance. You don't open up your mouth and start to talk to him unless I ask you a question. Do we understand each other, Miss Irwin?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now,
but this man's lying.
You want to walk out of here?
No, Your Honor.
So, you paid for what you minimally were supposed to pay for. Why would she agree that you not pay the $169 a month, Mr. Berlin, if you were paying only those portions of the bills that were rightfully yours?
Because, Your Honor, the verbal agreement we had in the beginning was that the $169 that I was to pay for the copay was only to be verbally not paid if she was to be paid by the state.
Mr. Berlin, that's a lot of double talk you just gave me.
Okay.
During the time that you were staying with Miss Irwin, did you have a substance abuse problem?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No.
Ever? Did you ever have a
lie?
Shh. Miss Irwin? Miss Irwin? Did you ever have a substance abuse problem, Mr. Berlin?
Nope. I drank alcohol every now and then, but that's it. Not a problem.
It was never a problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay. She babysat for you for 4 months. Times $169 equals $676, sir, because that was the agreement that you signed with the state. Now, let's get to the next part. The next part is Miss Irwin says that she bought furniture for your child, not the child that you share with her grandchild, but for your child, because otherwise the state would not give you your child.
Right.
So she went out and she purchased furniture with an understanding that you would repay her.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Did she buy the furniture?
She did, but she
How
went
much
out
did
and
she
bought
pay
it.
for the furniture?
I don't know the exact
How much did
amount.
you pay for the furniture, Miss Irwin?
The total amount of the furniture. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I've got a cold and I've got a lot of paperwork here that we need to resolve. Because
no, we don't have a lot of paperwork. All we have is how much did you pay for the furniture, Miss Irwin?
Well, I am not a calculator. I did not add it all up. I listed each article. I bought a potty chair for the child from Walmart.
How much?
$7. A bed and dresser at a yard sale. The bed was $30. The dresser was $25. Very nice ones.
Go ahead.
A small television for her to watch cartoons on, which there was no cable put in that room for that child to be able to watch any television.
Miss Irwin, I asked you a question. I don't expect you to talk to him.
And $65 worth of clothes.
$127.
Right.
May I say something, Your Honor? She went out and purchased all that stuff without ever consulting me about that.
Did you need that stuff for your daughter to come and live with you?
Not necessarily, no.
What do you mean, not necessarily? She didn't need a bed?
Of course she needed a bed, but I could have got...
She didn't need a dresser?
Yes, ma'am.
They would not have allowed the child to move in with you. You have one parent who is neglecting the child. They're not going to allow a child to come and move in with you unless they see that you have the provisions for the child. Correct?
Correct.
So somebody was going to have to furnish the child with a bed and a dresser.
Right.
Who would that be?
I could have done it, Your Honor.
But you didn't.
I would have done it on my next paycheck.
So when you got your next paycheck, you should have given her back the money. She bought it. $127, very cheap, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
Your Honor, could I say one thing?
No.
Well, it's very important to know...
I don't want to hear you. So far, you're not losing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Irwin says her granddaughter's ex-boyfriend owes for babysitting co-payments. Ruth says the state paid its share, and now David needs to pay his.
Miss Irwin, you're suing him for the furniture that you bought, the children's clothing that you bought, and the $169 times 4 that he was supposed to pay in a copay. So far, you're not losing. There's no need for me to hear you, except irritate me.
But I have some very important evidence here, Your Honor, that needs to be said. I threw this guy out of the house.
I'm not interested. You want to tell somebody about why you threw him out of the house? Go on Jerry Springer. This case involves two things. Look at me. Stop looking at your papers. It involves two things and two things only. Whether he's responsible for the $169 for 4 months, the answer is yes. And whether he's responsible for the baby furniture, and the answer is yes. Now, you, sir, have 30 seconds or less to explain to me your counterclaim, which, if I get it correctly, you say because she threw you out of the house, uncross your arms, because she threw you out of the house, you lost custody of your daughter. So you want all kinds of pain, suffering, and anguish. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Go to it.
Okay, well, first of all, she threw me out of the house because she claimed that I was depressed, so I went to go check it out. I called and she says to never come back again. So basically, after that, I was basically homeless, and I had to say that I couldn't take care of my daughter because I was basically homeless. So because of that, she still has a lot of my property, such as this TV right here in this picture, which I have a receipt, which I bought a new one with.
Which anguish is that? In what category does the TV come under? Mental anguish? Basically,
she still has some of my property. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, is your lawsuit mental anguish or is it your property?
It's both, Your Honor.
Well, let's start with the anguish.
Okay, well, the anguish basically is she made me lose custody of my daughter.
No,
and
she didn't make you lose custody of your daughter. The state took the child away.
Well, she basically kicked me out. That's how I lost custody of my daughter. I would have kept having custody of my daughter if I stayed in that place.
She didn't want you there anymore.
I understand that, Your Honor, but I was living there, and there was no reason why I should have been kicked out in the first place.
Why do you think she kicked you out, Mr. Berlin?
Because she thought I had depression, which I did, because she made life very unbearable there for me.
So she thought you were suffering from depression. She didn't want you in the house anymore, and you acknowledge that you were suffering from depression, but you say you were suffering from depression because she was making life intolerable for you with the house.
Absolutely. She's a very bitter woman, Your Honor.
Bitter. Well, then I wouldn't want to live with her, sir. I don't want to hear anything unless I ask you a question. Do you understand? Good. If she's making your life unbearable, you take your child and you move. That's what you do.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't sue for it.
Okay.
She's not responsible for keeping you in her house, nor is she responsible for the state taking your child away. Is the child now back with her mother?
Yes, ma'am.
So the state had an option of giving the child back to her mother, who was a drug abuser, or you, who was depressed. Is that right?
I believe so,
That was the choice. That was some choice. All right. Now let's get to the television set. May I see a photograph, please, of the television set?
This is the actual picture of the television set right here, but the back of it is a receipt that I replaced it with a new television because, well, basically I gave up hope of receiving my television again.
Listen to me. I want to see the bill where you purchased this television set.
I don't have that, Your Honor.
When did you purchase it?
It was October of 2003.
Okay. You have that television set, Miss Irwin?
No, I don't, Your
Where
Honor.
is it?
Yes, you do.
No, I do not have the TV, Your Honor, because that was purchased between him and my granddaughter. They each shared that cost.
Just answer my question, Miss Irwin. Where is the television?
You know, it's in the living room.
Okay. Just a second. Where's your granddaughter?
In the living room, probably watching it. She paid for half of it.
Just a second.
No, she did not.
Just a second.
You got proof?
Miss Irwin, you don't understand what I'm saying to you, madam. Put the papers down. Don't speak to him.
He's a parasite, Your Honor.
Don't speak to him. And only answer my questions. Other than that, I don't want to hear you. Now, Mr. Berlin, you don't have a receipt for this television set indicating that you purchased it?
No, ma'am, I bought it.
You don't get it. You have to give her $803, Mr. Berlin. That is for 4 months of copay on the child care and your daughter's furniture, which she purchased, which she has no particular use for, with the understanding that the reason she purchased it was because the state was not going to permit you to retain or to gain custody of your 2-year-old unless you had a bed and a dresser, which she furnished and which, according to you, you were going to purchase with your next paycheck. And when you got your next paycheck, you should have given her the money back for it. That's the decision of the court. And for your mental anguish, you get a zippo, nada. You lost custody of your child because you were ill-equipped to take care of her. That's the only reason. And unless you're quiet, you're going to get nothing. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $803. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Got what you deserve, David. Nothing. Totally nothing. David didn't get called out for his misbehavings, but justice was served.
She's a very bitter old woman. She needs to go come to her senses and stop being so bitter.
It's his virgin. I'm not an alcoholic. I drink a fifth a week.
Stay away from this woman over here.
You know, he's called until I'm committing suicide. Final thoughts is he'd do the state a blessing.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brooks versus Collins. Step forward, please.
21-year-old warehouse worker John David Brooks is suing his former friend, 24-year-old service repairman Eric Collins, for wrecking his quad runner.
Mr. Brooks, you are the owner of an off-road vehicle. Mr. Collins was an acquaintance of yours. It is your claim that he rode your off-road vehicle without your permission and wrecked it. Mr. Collins acknowledges that he rode the vehicle, but he says the brakes were defective and he injured himself. He has medical bills. He is going to take his lawsuit against you to the Supreme Court, where he can sue you for a lot more money. That's what your answer is. Is that right?
Correct.
Good. Do you have a lawyer?
No, I don't.
When did this happen?
September the 28th, 2004.
What are you waiting for?
To pay my lawyer some more money.
Mr. Collins, you don't see stupid written across here, do you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
The kind of suit you are alleging is a suit in negligence. Lawyers do not accept money up front for that. What they do is they work on a contingency, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have a lawyer that's charging you a fee?
Of course.
What is this lawyer's name?
I'd rather not say.
I'd rather you would.
Gerald.
How much have you paid him so far?
Not pertaining to this case here.
This case here, Mr. Collins.
Which I did not put a counterclaim against him. He put one against me.
What part of the English language don't you understand, Mr. Collins? I asked you, how much money did you pay your lawyer so far?
I have not paid him a dime pertaining to this case.
Correct. I assume he's represented you with regard to other matters in the past, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Collins? How old are you, sir?
24.
What kind of matters has he represented you on, Mr. Collins? Is not an answer.
Just minor charges.
Criminal matters.
No.
What are you looking at him
matters.
for? What are you looking at him for? You didn't think that coming here was going to be a picnic, did you, Mr. Collins?
No, ma'am, I did not.
I'm not known as the picnic lady.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
When you do something wrong, you're supposed to take responsibility for it.
Of
then
course.
you can put a period and move on with your life and be a productive citizen.
Yes, ma'am.
As opposed to making excuses for why you do not accept responsibility and trying to give me a lot of who shot John. What is an off-road vehicle? Is not an answer.
The ATV, all-terrain vehicle.
That is a vehicle that is to be ridden off the
street.
Now, you allowed someone else to borrow your all-terrain vehicle. Who was that? Raise your hand.
Jason.
That would be you.
Yep.
Yes.
You borrowed Mr. Brooks's all-terrain vehicle because you were going duck
To a dove shoot?
dove shoot.
Yes, ma'am.
Did they ever do anything to you?
No.
And Mr. Brooks allowed you to take the ATV. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you brought it back, and it was in good condition.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what did you do with it?
I didn't do anything. I brought it back to my house, and David was supposed to come back and
That's
pick it
David.
up. Yes, ma'am.
David was supposed to come back and pick it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
He came by that night that Eric wrecked it. He had a trailer.
Just a second.
Oh.
You ran by that very quickly. He came by that night and you said, Eric, that would be him.
That's correct.
He wrecked it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how did he get his hands on it?
Well, it was left at the house that we were
No, you
renting.
left it at the house. You
Mhm.
borrowed it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you leave it?
In the garage.
Was he at your house, Mr. Collins?
Yeah, well, he was living there at the time.
Did he ask you if he could use it?
No, ma'am.
So he took it without
Mission.
right, Mr. Collins?
Right.
And what happened when you took it without permission, Mr. Collins?
Well, took it around the block.
Try looking at me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We took it around the block.
Not we. You.
I took it around the block. Brakes failed. Hit a brick wall. Woke up in the middle of the road with a crushed hand, dislocated knee, and a concussion.
It's a good thing that this is a G-rated show. Otherwise, I would say something like, something happens. You take things without permission, sir. So I would suggest you save your money for your lawyer because you have no case.
Okay.
It would be like you saying, you know, I saw that Rolls Royce just sitting in the middle of the road. And I've never gotten behind the wheel of a Rolls Royce before. So the door was open, and I got in, and the key was on the floor mat. So I took the key and I started it, and took it for a ride, and the brakes failed, and I wrapped up the car, and I was hurt. And then you turn around and sue the owner of this old Rolls Royce because the brakes were bad. What do you think about that?
Well, what could I say?
What could I say, sir? You took Mr. Brooks's property without permission and you wrecked it.
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you wreck it, you pay for it. Does that sound right to you?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Now he's got the drill. See how easy that was?
Like a bird's nest on the ground.
May I see a photograph of your ATV, sir? Did you get this fixed?
No, man, I totaled it out. I had the estimate, and I could have bought a new one for as much as it would have cost for the parts.
Well, how much did you pay for this one?
I paid $1,800 for it.
When?
I believe it was January last year. After that, I probably put about $600 into it, a new exhaust, tires.
You're suing him for $1,680. How come?
That's about what the worth of it was at the time.
Mr. Collins?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm coming back to you for a moment, sir. You got on the all-terrain vehicle and you took it out of the garage.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't.
Sorry about that.
You took it out of the garage.
That's correct.
And you were going to just take it for a spin around the street?
Yes, ma'am.
This was on a street, right?
Actually, it was a boulevard, but, you know.
It's a boulevard.
Same thing.
Where the ATV was not supposed to be ridden, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's supposed to be ridden on all terrain except city streets, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So aside from taking it without permission, you were breaking the law.
Yes, ma'am.
How far did you get with it?
Not very far.
Well, how far?
Quarter of a mile.
Sir, that's the most expensive quarter-of-a-mile ride you will probably ever have. It's going to cost you $1,680. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I guess the law is the law, and that's about the plainest way to put it.
I went back next day after the wreck to pick it up.
I took myself to the hospital.
He was pretty hurt. He was in the bed.
I was lucky to be alive.
You know, he made a couple payments and it stopped.
Well, you know, David's my friend. When he was, hopefully, you know.
I mean, yeah, we can squash it now. You know, it's done.
Don't ride him if it don't belong to you.
Old U.S. Marine Michael Rivera is suing his ex-girlfriend, customer service rep Lacey Spear, for stealing money from his bank account while he was in Iraq.
All rise.
Now, this is case number 352 on the calendar, the matter of Rivera versus Spears. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. And have a seat. You're welcome.
Private Rivera, Miss Spears was your girlfriend, and before you were deployed to Iraq, you gave her a power of attorney over some of your finances. It is your claim in this complaint that she took the money out of your account against your wishes and used it, and you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Spears says that when you gave her power of attorney over your finances, you told her to use the money as she saw fit, and she saw fit to spend it because she needed it. When were you deployed to Iraq?
I went on the boat on January 15th, and we deployed on January 21st, ma'am.
Did you have a bank account?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
In what bank?
Washington Mutual.
And when did you first notice that Miss Spears was spending money?
Well, about a month after I deployed, and when I went to Singapore, I should have had about $1,600 in my account, and I had about $400.
Did you call her?
I asked her why she spent all the money. She said she spent money on some things. She needed to buy some things. When I was on my way to Iraq, we passed through Hawaii, and she told me that she had cervical cancer, and she had to use my money to pay for the surgery to get the cancer removed, which is $300 is what she said.
And did you say okay?
I said that's fine. Obviously, it was an emergency. She didn't have. She told me she didn't have medical insurance at the time, so
you don't have treatment for cervical cancer for $300, Private Rivera.
That's what I said, ma'am. And I mean, in my mind, I was thinking I didn't say that to her at the time, but what I thought is that it was an abortion because before I had left, she told me that she was pregnant with my child, and I argued with her mom for about 2 hours before I left. Her mom was saying she wants her to have an abortion and stuff, and then when I left, it just so happens that she had cervical cancer.
Ms. Spears, when were you diagnosed with cervical cancer?
I went in for surgery on the 31st of January, 2003.
And what was your course of treatment?
I had a cancerous lesion on my cervix. I had to get that removed, and I was pregnant at the time, but I have medical history, papers saying that the fetus was collapsing, there was no fetal growth, I would have had a miscarriage, and I couldn't do the surgery if I was pregnant. So I had to go ahead and do the DNC.
Did you have any follow-up treatment after they removed the lesion?
I have to go back every 3 months to monitor the cancer.
And you used some of the money for that. How much?
I couldn't tell you. I was under my mom's medical insurance. I never told Michael that I didn't have medical insurance.
So that was the first time, Private Rivera, that you noticed that money was missing.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were not happy about that.
No, I was not.
So why didn't you direct that your direct deposit be sent to some other bank?
The ship I was on, it was a Marine Corps owned ship. They only had 2 of them, and they're very small, and they have limited capabilities. We didn't have any internet, no telephones, nothing. So I had no way to tell the bank to either stop the power of attorney.
All you have to do is write them a letter.
At the time, I didn't know. I mean, I was just off. I had to deal with other things as far as the deployment, being away from family, being away from friends, and I didn't think to write a letter. I mean, in the first place, I didn't think someone would go and spend that much money.
Okay, well, they
Especially
did. So that we were up to May 2003. So what happened next?
So I stopped in Guam. I found out I had $1,800 in my account. I called her, very angry, asked her what she spent the money on. She couldn't tell me what she spent the money on. She doesn't know what she did. She told me she went to Vegas. She told me she bought shoes and purses, and she couldn't remember what else she spent the money on.
So what did you say to her?
I broke up with her.
Fine, that was in May.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
And then I went and pulled the money out that I had left.
How did you do that, Private
Through an
Rivera?
ATM.
Where, in Guam?
Yes, ma'am. I have it's all written down. It's all down here in withdrawal transactions.
No, I believe you went and pulled out the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody had to get you a road map on how to do that.
No, ma'am.
Right, Officer Rivera?
No, they did not.
Right. So you pulled the money out. And?
And then got on the ship and went back home.
So what are you doing here a year later?
Well, I owe my father $6,000 total for lending me money to buy a car. And he's been bugging me, asking me when I'm going to take her to court to get the money for him, when am I going to pay him his money back. And now I figure it's about time I get the money back.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
Before Michael went off to go overseas, he told me to spend the money on my car payments because at the time I was working as a hostess. I wasn't making that much money. He even told my mother, my mom asked him, why are you doing this? And he said, because I want Lacey to have money while I'm gone. Those are her exact words. Mm-hmm. And I never went to Vegas, ever.
So what'd you spend the money on?
I sent him care packages overseas.
One care package.
4.
Don't interrupt her.
My car payment, my insurance payment,
just bills. He told me to spend it on me.
I didn't say that, Your Honor. I never once said spend it on you. I said if there's an emergency.
If he needed to pay his dad back, why didn't he give his dad power of attorney?
Because he trusted you.
Your Honor, I never told her to spend the money freely on herself. Never once did I say that. I said in case of emergency, if something comes up to where you don't have enough money, you can use the money, but I want $6,000 at least when I get back. And
Just a minute. I don't believe you said that, Private Rivera. I don't believe you said you want $6,000 when you came back, but I do not believe that you deposited your money into the bank and anticipating that she was going to spend all of it. I don't believe that's true at all, that you were working over there for her. I don't believe that, Ms. Spears. I believe that you abused the privilege a little bit. Now, is there any reason why you abused the privilege a little bit?
That's not true either. She told me when I came back.
I'm not speaking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any reason why you abused the privilege?
No, ma'am.
Were you angry at him for something?
No. I wasn't angry at him at all. And he never broke up with me while he was overseas. We were still together until he got back. And then, and even after we got back, he bought me a CD player for my car. I mean, if he was so worried about this money, why was he still buying me things, trying to be with me?
That's a good question, Private Rivera. Why is that?
Your Honor, I loved her. I did love her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Says ex-girlfriend Lacey Spears stole money from his bank account while he was deployed in Iraq.
When you came home, you continued to see Miss Spears.
Yes, ma'am.
And you bought her gifts.
Yes, ma'am, I bought her.
Even after you took your money out of the ATM and found out that all this money was gone.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I still think that you abused the privilege, but I don't think that there was an agreement that that money would be used for any particular thing. What I want to know is, under what circumstances did the two of you end your relationship?
It ended very bad, Your Honor. And I mean, I was...
You want to tell me how that happened?
At the time, I mean, when I left, we weren't in very good standing terms. She cheated on me, I cheated on her, so on and so forth. She told me that I gave her chlamydia and all this
Would you do me a favor and tell me, please, what happened to terminate the relationship when you came back to the States?
I was seeing her for a while, and then I stopped seeing her. I went and started partying with other friends, and she would call me up, "Where are you? How come you're not coming over to see me?" And I would hang up. I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I was going to see another girl.
Just a sec. So that's how you broke up?
Yes, ma'am.
You got bored with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, just because you got bored with her, Private Rivera, doesn't mean that she owes you any money.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Good. I'm glad you understand that, because your case is dismissed. That's it.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
Obviously, he's in some kind of money trouble, and he needs help, and he's trying desperately to get any way he can.
She's taking out money that I'm working hard for, overseas, fighting for our country.
I was in the room when he told her, pay your car payment, pay your bills, and use the rest for what you need. And I told him he was out of his mind for doing it.
I was obviously in love, and what a mistake it was.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Haney versus Darling, step forward, please.
24-year-old Penelope Haney and her brother Ronald are suing their former friend, 22-year-old student Jennifer Dorling, for the value of a computer. The siblings claim Jennifer borrowed the computer and for some reason threw it away.
Miss Haney, the defendant is your son's aunt.
Yes.
Who is this?
My brother.
Ronald.
According to your complaint, the defendant borrowed your brother's computer.
Yes.
And either won't return it, or she says she threw it out because she stored it for you long enough. And she also has a desk that I assume went with the computer. And she says it's an old piece of junk that you can have back, but she no longer has the computer.
Right.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding her getting the computer.
In February of 2004, she started asking me to ask my brother if she could use it because my brother had lent it to me.
Weren't you using it?
No, I didn't need it. I wasn't in school anymore, and I didn't have a phone, and she wanted to use it for internet purposes, so.
So what kind of a computer is it?
A Dell, a Pentium 4.
When did you ask for it back?
He asked for it back in May, and she said it wasn't a good time to come and get it.
Who did you ask for it back?
I asked her for it, and she told me she has to take a few days to get some stuff off it.
Is that right?
Yes.
Why didn't you get the stuff off it and return it to them?
I did take the stuff off it. I was moving in the beginning of June, and when I had spoke to Ron, I told him to come get it by May 25th because he had said that...
Don't, listen. Don't speak to her. Where's the computer now?
I threw it out.
Why?
Because I just got tired of storing it.
You weren't storing it, you had borrowed it.
I never borrowed it. I was doing her a favor because she didn't have a phone line.
Just a second. Listen, Miss Dorling, you don't want me to torture you, do you?
No.
Listen to me very carefully, madam. If she didn't have a phone line, that's not a reason for you to take the computer and put stuff on the computer that you had to take off the computer, because clearly, based upon what you said, you had been using it, enjoying it, putting your own information on it, because when he called you in May and said, I want to, I'm speaking. When he called you and said, I want to come and get my computer, you said, it's not a good time, I have to get stuff off it. So you weren't storing it, you were using it.
The both of us, both Penny and I, were both using it.
Fine.
Then what happened?
Shut. Listen to me.
Sorry.
You don't say you're sorry again. If you do it again, you're out of here. You got it? When did you call him and tell him that he should come and pick it up?
He had called my house one day, and I said, well, I'm moving, and I told him, I said, come get it by May 25th, and if you don't, you've lost it, because I'm moving, and I don't want to move it.
What, are you crazy? What, are you nuts?
No.
Oh, yeah, you are. When did you call them to tell them, I've gotten the stuff off the computer, you can have it back now?
He had called me, and I told him...
So the answer is you never called.
I didn't know the phone number. I didn't know
you
where he was.
You just told me, Miss Dorling, that the two of you were using the computer.
Yes.
Well, so then you saw her.
Yes, but I didn't see her in May much.
Then she wasn't using the computer in May. Just you were using it.
It was at my house, yes.
Just you were using it. How much you paid for the computer?
We have the receipt, $776.
You got a lot of nerve. I don't even know if you threw it out. Why would you throw away a perfectly good computer?
Because in July, Ron and his mother had come to my house, and his mother had physically attacked me in my home in front of my daughter.
Over the computer?
Yes. I told her to get out of my house, and if she got out of my house, I would get it. Ron told her to back off of me, and I got her out of my house, and I locked the doors. I called the police, and then I went into the computer room, or the bedroom.
So what you're telling me is, from May all through the summer, they wanted the computer back.
That was July 2nd.
What? She wanted the computer back.
I hadn't heard from them. Ronnie had called once after I had moved and threatened I'll get the money one way or the other. And
what do you mean you get the money one way or the other? That's not something that somebody does, unless you were stalling giving him the computer. What did she say to you when you called?
I called again. I was like, all right, Jen, I'm coming to get my computer. And she told me now's not a good time. And I was like, well, now's not a good time for you, but it's a good time for me before you sell it.
Don't look at her.
Or throw it out. Or get rid of it. And I was upset. And we go over there, and it's not there. And then I hear that it's there, and then I hear it's not there, and then I just hear now that she threw it out.
And what about the desk?
The desk I just bought just to go with the computer.
Okay, and that you have?
I have that, yes. It's
very good. They're going to pick it up in 5 days, and you owe them $766 for the computer. That's all.
Thanks.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was mine. I wanted it. I went to get it. She wouldn't give it back. I called.
Told me they were coming to get it at that time and didn't give me any notice or anything like that.
Now is not a good time. How is it? Well, obviously it's not a good time.
The lioness on the throne of justice. Judge Judy's silent roar. They say some women aren't. Known for their beauty they are. Remembered for their justice. Some faces look good in mirrors, but some belong in history. And Judge Judy was one of those faces, who didn't just sit on the judge's bench but sparkled like a crown on the forehead of justice. The girl who rose from Brooklyn streets to the seat of law. A simple girl born in Brooklyn, New York. Judith Sheindlin in 1942. She went to school like any other girl, but there was something special in her eyes. There was a bitterness of truth in her tone, and in her heart, the courage to rip apart any lie. She earned a law degree, but not just a certificate. She lifted a weapon of war. She knew the world doesn't tolerate a woman who speaks the truth, but she entered the courtroom carrying the flag of truth, where lies trembled She stood tall. When Judge Judy stepped into the family court for the first time, people only saw a woman, but in her eyes burned a fire that could reduce every veil of falsehood to ashes. When she questioned someone, the guilty bathed in sweat. Her voice held no softness, no fake sympathy, only the thunder of justice. When court came to television and justice won hearts. In 1996, a television show shook the world. Its name, Judge Judy. This wasn't drama. This was a courtroom of truth. In every episode, someone came, lied, trembled, and finally surrendered before Judge Judy's roar. She didn't sit like a mere judge. She sat like a queen on her throne. No fear on her face, no courtesy in her words. Only justice, justice, and more justice. A woman who spoke like a storm and earned like royalty. Today, Judge Judy's wealth exceeds $400 million. She earned hundreds of thousands per episode, but she never sold her words. She used to say, "I eat liars for breakfast." Fame at her feet, money around her, but her voice only echoed truth. Words that fell like stones upon the heart. Judge Judy never softened her words to please anyone. When she spoke, it felt like the entire system had awakened. If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Don't waste my time in this courtroom. This isn't a place for your weeping. This is where truth is needed. Her tone was like an ancient judge from old times, whose words turned into law. A character who wasn't just a woman, but an example for the world. Judge Judy didn't just deliver justice in court. She gave women a lesson. If you have truth within you, you don't need any man, any power, or any support. She was a mother, a wife, but above all, a living embodiment of the Constitution. Her success wasn't in her wealth alone, but in the hearts of millions who watched her courtroom and said, "This is what real justice looks like." Final words that shake the heart. She wasn't a fictional character, not a story from film. She was a living truth, a shining example that when a woman stands on principles, even thrones bow and systems tremble. The lioness on the throne of justice, Judge Judy's silent roar. They say some women aren't known for their beauty, they are remembered for their justice. Some faces look good in mirrors, but some belong in history. And Judge Judy was one of those faces, who didn't just sit on the judge's bench but sparkled like a crown on the forehead of justice. The girl who rose from Brooklyn streets to the seat of law. A simple girl born in Brooklyn, New York, Judith Sheindlin in 1942. She went to school like any other girl, but there was something special in her eyes. There was a bitterness of truth in her tone, and in her heart, the courage to rip apart any lie. She earned a law degree, but not just a certificate. She lifted a weapon of war. She knew the world doesn't tolerate a woman who speaks the truth, but she entered the courtroom carrying the flag of truth. Where lies trembled, she stood tall. When Judge Judy stepped into the family court for the first time, people only saw a woman, but in her eyes burned a fire that could reduce every veil of falsehood to ashes. When she questioned someone, the guilty bathed in sweat. Her voice held no softness, no fake sympathy, only the thunder of justice. When court came to television and justice won hearts. In 1996, a television show shook the world. Its name, Judge Judy. This wasn't drama. This was a courtroom of truth. In every episode, someone came, lied, trembled, and finally surrendered before Judge Judy's roar. She didn't sit like a mere judge. She sat like a queen on her throne. No fear on her face, no courtesy in her words. Only justice, justice, and more justice. A woman who spoke like a storm and earned like royalty. Today, Judge Judy's wealth exceeds $400 million. She earned hundreds of thousands per episode, but she never sold her words. She used to say, "I eat liars for breakfast." Fame at her feet, money around her, but her voice only echoed truth. Words that fell like stones upon the heart. Judge Judy never softened her words to please anyone. When she spoke, it felt like the entire system had awakened. If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Don't waste my time in this courtroom. This isn't a place for your weeping. This is where truth is needed. Her tone was like an ancient judge from old times, whose words turned into law. A character who wasn't just a woman, but an example for the world. Judge Judy didn't just deliver justice in court. She gave women a lesson. If you have truth within you, you don't need any man, any power, or any support. She was a mother, a wife, but above all, a living embodiment of the Constitution. Her success wasn't in her wealth alone, but in the hearts of millions who watched her courtroom and said, "This is what real justice looks like." Final words that shake the heart. She wasn't a fictional character, not a story from film. She was a living truth, a shining example that when a woman stands on principles, even thrones bow and systems tremble.